Hello! It's Friday morning coffee time and we're going to kick off talking about friendships. Mm-hmm. How important are friendships to you?
Oh, massively. You know that. Which is interesting. I don't think as a child I had as good a friendship as it's been something I've learnt as I've got older. You know, when I was a kid, you were at school, it was all confined to something. Then when you're at work, it's with people who you work with, so you're kind of brought into that environment. As I've got older, you know, in the last, say, 10 years, I've had this has been my most exciting time to develop real, true, open, honest friendships. And my friends now, I love them. All very different. They all have aspects of themselves that I really admire. I'm very, very lucky because I've got you as well. You're my bestie friend. I mean, as a child, I don't know that. I think I was more like a butterfly. I used to just, you know, there wasn't the intensity, there wasn't the real support there. Mm-hmm. Now, I think as a you know, mature mum, I really value my friends and I think in turn they value me.
You kind of get to a stage where you're much more open to be vulnerable with people.
Yes.
And less, you know, as a teenager, you're much more self-conscious about what other people are thinking, so you might be a bit more guarded. But as you get older, you become, and the more vulnerable you are in a relationship, the better the relationship becomes.
Yes.
Because you have trust then, and you get to a deeper understanding.
Yes. And that's an interesting point. You know, when I've had issues with my own children, and I have been honest, that has, you know, guards have come down with friends where they've kind of gone, oh, your son's dyslexic. Oh, actually, my little Johnny struggles with his words, and you know, and they're actually prepared to allow you access to something that they feel fearful of.
Sometimes you just feel like you're knocking your head against a brick wall because it feels like, I don't know if it's this society, but definitely in my experience, it feels like we try and keep our private lives very, very private. We don't want to admit that our kids got into this, our kids got into drugs, our kids got depression, our kids struggling with this. It's like we want to keep it within the four walls. Yeah. Or even worse than that, pretend it's not happening at all.
Yes.
And that's why friendships are so important, because if you're not able to get in touch with how you feel about, you know, yourself and what your children are going through, then you're not really in a position to help them with it anyway.
No. Well, look at the journey that you and I've been on from when we first met, the different person I am now to the person I am. What I was then to what I am now. Yeah. And that's been my biggest learning experience with you, is that you would question what I was telling you. So I'd say, everything's fine, everything's lovely. And you go, well, that's not quite what I'm reading.
Yes.
You would see the sadness in my eyes. You would see the confusion if I wasn't sure. You could see me not making decisions when perhaps I should be making decisions. And you would question that.
Yeah, and reflect it back.
You did.
Because you can see that something's not quite right.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we do enough of that.
No.
And I don't think we have enough people around us that we're able to trust enough to be like that with.
Yes.
And I think that's a real shame, because I think you need support, especially if you've got, well, and even if you don't have children.
Yeah.
You know, you need somebody to be honest with you.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
And not be defensive about it.
Yes.
Because you know they're coming from a good place.
Yes.
It'd be really interesting, survey to do, to say how many friends people have got where they actually can truly be themselves.
I know.
And feel no shame.
I know.
I reckon it would be very few.
Well, I agree. And I know that,
if any.
From myself, I think it's a new experience, this proper friendship. Somebody that you can actually rely on, someone who you feel that deep love and care for. But it's not like a partner. I don't expect you to turn up at every and save every occasion. But I know that the support is there. Yeah.
And just knowing that the other person is accepting of you.
Yes.
So even if you say something to me and I think, oh, that doesn't feel very nice, to be able to say, oh no, I feel a bit uncomfortable about that, is what makes the relationship work.
Yes.
Rather than just take it away and go, oh, little bitch, I can't believe she said that about me. And then say to somebody else, oh God, you're not going to believe what Rosemary said to me. Yeah. And then nothing ever deepens. It's the non-defensiveness.
Absolutely. I think that comes possibly with maturity and not being so up your own self. You know, and I can remember when I was much younger, and, you know, happily married and behaving in what I thought was a certain way. That's how society was, that's what you did, and, you know, nobody had to have an affair was terrible, and to do these was, you know, outrageous. I had no understanding of tolerance or acceptance or that things happen, and that there's two stories. I can remember catching somebody having an affair, and a girlfriend said to me, can you say that you've been caught, and can you say it without any being condescending, smarmy, smug? No, she said, well, you don't say that. And I couldn't do it. I would have been taking the moral high ground, and it would have been horrid.
Yeah. And actually, that's another really important point, is if you're in your own home, if you're judging people and your kids are seeing that, especially teenagers, if you're there judging people like getting pregnant, smoking pot, self-harming, if you're, you know, eating disorders, not doing their schoolwork, not wearing the right clothes, if your kids are hearing you judging people all the time, they're not going to come to you with their shit.
No.
They're not going to come to you with their problems.
No.
So it's really, really important. That non-judgmental attitude is really important for us to have, but for us to role model for our children.
Yes. Well, yes, but I know. I mean, that was the biggest... I fully understand now the only person you can control is yourself. And I know I've been very hard to control.
Really hard to control?
Myself, my own whims.
You found it.
Yeah. I think, oh my Lord, you know, so the thought of, you know, when I'm going to try and tell my kids off or say, you do this, you do, I think, can I do that? Oh. So my own, you know, journey of trying to get myself is to the best person I can be, and to be honest and open and aware of my own feelings has been a battle and an up climb anyway.
It's the most important thing for parenting. Sort out who you are, be accepting of yourself, be tolerant of yourself and others. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
No,
is it?
and as I got better at looking after myself and my own self-care, what was interesting, my children, I must have been communicating at a much more open, honest and real level, because they would say, I might walk into a room and they would notice what mood I was in. So they would begin happily reflecting, saying, Mum, you look a little sad today. Yeah. Before I knew I was sad.
Yes.
I got sad. Actually, I am. Actually, you know, it's whatever, this has happened, that's happened, and I would notice, and that was really fabulous, because they were able to communicate honestly with me.
Yes.
Without there being any, and then I could work it out myself. And I could help them. It's been great, you know, to finally be yourself and know who yourself is.
Yeah. So important.
Yeah.
And millions of people go through their whole lives not accessing that.
I know. Well, didn't we say the other day, you know, that how many adults do we know who are still really children within themselves? Yeah. You know, that they're behaving, that if anything happens, they're not able to access that. You know, we need our inner child. We need to be childlike and have that lovely innocence of life and that fun. But, you know, we need to be able to be...
We don't need it to be in the driving seat all the time.
Exactly.
But that's quite hard though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes your child gets into the driving seat.
My mind still does.
Yeah, mine does as well. It's been out of control.
Yeah. And my kids will go, Who's driving that car today? All right. Yeah. Of course they do. I think I've taught you far too much. I talked to you far too much about what's going on. Bless them.
How lovely for them though. And then they'll be telling their mates.
Yes.
And looking all very wise and...
Yes. Well, I think it's that, not to try and take the fear out of who they are, their emotions, how they're feeling, and to know that, you know, life's always in constant movement and nothing ever stays the same. We're always, you know, things are always in flow. And to just relax about a lot of things, you know, like, come on, well, don't worry about that. It's always something we can do. Just stop, let's breathe.
And we even forget that sometimes. You know, you can have a really bad day, can't you? You can just feel like really shitty.
Yeah.
And you can forget that feeling is going to move on.
Yes.
So no wonder, you know, these adolescents or our adolescents, when they go into panic when they're feeling rubbish,
Yes.
Particularly when they're trying to be so perfect because they're trying to fit into an ideal very often.
Yes.
From social media,
Yes.
editing all their photographs and, everything
Yes.
looking perfect, putting the right slogan on, making sure that the Snapchats are going to the right people, and that constant feed of how perfect everybody else is looking.
Yes. Yes. I mean, that's when you need your friends to reflect what's true and what's going on.
Yeah.
So if I've had mine and I think I'm sinking, you've often gone, you're not sinking. It's you're all right.
Yeah.
Things are all right. There's progression. This is happening. That's happening. And I go, because when you're in it, it's hard
to see out of it.
To see out of it. And
you need your You really need your friends. To see the wood for the trees.
Yes.
And to see the whole picture.
Yes.
And the kids really need their friends to be able to do that as well.
Yeah.
But I think it is hard for teenagers to trust each other when they're still learning.
I know.
And then if they say or do something that's wrong or upset, before you know it, it's all over social media and then the whole school knows all about it. And so it's very difficult, I think, for kids these days to learn that being vulnerable if they're accessing social media, which the majority of them are.
Well, you know what, my thoughts on that, a lot of the time, what I'm like, I always bang on about know thyself, know how you feel about things, rather than being swayed by other people's views. If you know where you're going, you have a clearer path of what's right and what's wrong. Yeah. You're not jumping fences and or jumping sides from this one to that one. And I know, my youngest, she is so good at being kind and seeing other people's vulnerability. And I think in that, but she keeps herself true to what her belief system is. She won't allow herself to be bullied. She'll keep her strong boundaries, but she's good at not allowing other people to get bullied, or
which is really unusual at that age group. Because you're outward, your brain is about fitting in with other people and conforming and being accepted by the whole mass. So it's really hard, but I think it's more so important now that we support our kids.
Yes.
Because everything is so outward facing.
Yes.
It was like, if they're going through the streams of all these perfect girls' bodies, which actually a lot of them seem very malnourished to me.
Yes,
they're looking through them all, but they're looking at, I want a bum like that, I want legs like that. And we always used to do that when we were kids. Yeah. But you'd just be looking at somebody walking, it's not a constant stream, like millions of pictures, just totally just ramming into your subconscious what you should look like. When actually, trying to get my daughter to understand that this amazing body is what she's got, and she will never be satisfied if she's trying to be somebody else's body, because she's never going to get there.
I know.
All you can do is look at what you've got and enjoy what you have and make the most of what you have.
Yes.
I keep trying to explain, you're never going to be happy if you're always outward facing. You're never ever going to be happy.
And you have no control over what that. It's only yourself.
Yes.
There are. I mean, I used to be a makeup artist and used to do. And the thing that was always amusing when you used to do that would be, you'd start with a blank face. And you'd notice all the flaws. So you might say, look, somebody's got a spot here, or their eyes are a little bit dark, a bit close together. Right, okay, let's do it. And you were able to project what you wanted to see and ignore what you didn't. So it was like drawing a picture. What they do now with the
focusing,
on all their contouring and everything. But if you are focusing on all your bad things, that's what they see. They start to go, I haven't got this. What about this? Well, never mind that. What are your good stuff? Look at your positives. They're not seeing it.
They're just seeing what everybody else has got.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem with the social media sites and all the images in particular that are down, it's the constantness of it.
Yes.
I think it's not really social media or the sites in general, it's the consistency, it's the volume of images going into. I mean, we used to we used to worry about them seeing certain adverts and things on TV, like one advert every 3 days or something.
Yes.
And this now
Yes.
it's like this constant like streaming that just absorbs into their subconscious.
Absolutely.
Makes them feel like shit.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, most of the time.
Most of the time.
Really, I would think. And I have to say, every now and again, I do find myself thinking, they're plugged in. Come for tea? Yeah, okay. I think, put that down. And you can see the twitch.
Yeah.
You know, they want them back.
Yeah.
And I know when they're sad, because you can see their faces, they're just looking.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if they are having a bad day and then you're seeing everybody else, you know, your mates have gone out somewhere else or, you know.
Yeah, and you want, and for your friends, you know, that's where I want your girls, the young ones, the girlfriends and male friends, to be honest when they're saying, do I look really good in this? You look using too much weight. You need to eat.
Yes.
Or, you know, actually, you're eating too much. Right, you know, I mean, it's ridiculous. But, you know, PC things have gone a bit mad.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
You know, my nan, if I was younger, my nan thought I was putting on, she'd tell me. She'd go, hey, what you doing?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, have your fruit before you have that.
I think a lot of us as parents, I know I've felt it in the past, you know, like, because obviously we work with adolescents as well, I've you know, started to panic because I'm working with all these adolescents that are doing things like, you know, the self-harming and the not eating and in really bad places, anxiety. But then you're fearful that, you know, if you are too honest, are you going to send your child down that route?
Yes.
You know, so then you're like thinking, oh my God, you know, are they going to start doing this? Are they going to start? It's a dreadful place for parents to be.
Well, I can remember having a situation. I can't think of what the facts were, but I can remember going a much softer, gently pace with one of mine, and it didn't work. So this ain't working. There's no change here. So she had to get a real reality check, and it was quite harsh. But it was. I thought, well, this is the truth.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Yes.
Fudge around
the
truth and allow you an opportunity to find a thread of something that you want to follow, but actually,
because they love the drama anyway, don't they? So if they can twist their brains to go down any little thread that looks kind of drama-y So if they haven't got somebody who's willing to be really grounded and honest with them and say, look, you know, you're not eating enough now and you're not, then they are going to grasp onto something.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think it wasn't necessarily the food, but I think your attitude, that how they are, how they're behaving, what they're doing. If we don't have somebody, you know, and then it's their choice to do it. This is what, at this moment in time, these are the facts. Yeah,
you've got to say you know, you've got to, when you're in a bubble, you don't see it. So you need your parents again, or your friends, just reflecting back what's going on. You know, or you know, if you're struggling, like everybody does struggle with their teenagers, everybody from times beyond to now, but perhaps more so now. There's more mental health issues at the moment. You know, we are struggling. We need to be able to talk to other people, or if we notice something about someone else's child, we need to help them and say, look, this is what we've noticed. Is such and such okay?
I quite agree.
But actually, what we get, you know, a lot of the time in my experience, even professionally, when you try and talking to a parent, they either don't want to know because it's too distressing for them to deal with, or they get defensive.
Yes.
Who do you think you are? Pushing, you know, and you know, people are losing friendships over it.
Yeah.
But that's not right, because all we're doing is perpetuating a culture of not being honest and not having real friendships, which our kids are going to follow.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that was
there's no shame. There's no shame. If your child is struggling, there's no shame. Everybody's children struggle from now and then.
I know. Well, we all do.
Yeah.
We still do. What do you mean? Hello? You're all
absolutely fine. Look at us.
Not true. You know, I mean, not true, is it?
No.
I mean, that's the thing that you say, you know, you're having trouble with your friendships as a child or a young ad. That happens to all of us. Mm-hmm. You know.
We still have friendship problems.
Yes.
Not as particular.
No. No, but we have.
Yes. But,
had, you know, and even if I haven't have had your honesty over many, many, many times, I can't imagine where I would be now.
Yes.
Or where I could have potentially taken myself.
Yes.
Without that strong reality of you saying you are not coping. This person, that child is not coping. And if you do not do something, this is where they may go.
Yes.
They could get into drugs. They may go off they will come out of their education. They're not going to do that. And that was sufficient enough to scare the bejesus out of me for me to think, right, okay.
That was the tipping edge.
That ain't happening.
Gonna have to come out that bubble.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Because I think as parents we have that tendency to think, oh, it'll all just pass. It's just a phase. It's just a phase. But often it isn't.
Well, my shock as well has been like, as a child, if we were doing something and somebody saw us, we were other parents would tell you off.
Yeah.
They would say, "Oi, get off my bloody gate! What you do? Nip them apples. What you do?" We'd get a bollock, and you felt like the community were looking after you.
Yeah.
You'd go somewhere, and everybody knew everybody, and they'd talk to you or tell you off.
Raised by the village French thing, isn't it?
Definitely, but
not anymore.
I know somebody who yes, nobody wants to tell. They know about somebody else's child doing something, but they don't go and say,
Yeah.
"Excuse me, I think this happened to your girl or your boy or this. I'm concerned about this." Nobody says anything.
It's massive bravery to do that. If I've noticed something and I've wanted to talk to a friend about it, it's like still yourself.
Yeah.
But if I don't do it, I know that's not right.
Yes.
That's wrong. And I would expect my friends, which you've done when you found out something about one of mine, you told me. And I want my friends to tell me. I appreciate it. I need to know.
Yeah.
Because we're all in our little bubbles, getting by, running around, running life at a very fast pace very often.
Yeah.
So we need friends.
Oh, my goodness.
And we need to be open and we need to be honest.
Yes. And yes, without a doubt. And I think as well, if you want your friends, if you know who you are, try to, so you can find the right friends that are the right mix for you.
Yeah. And that changes.
Of course it does.
So don't feel like you've got to hold on. You've got to hold on to the friends that you've always had. Because what you want in a friendship will change.
Well, what's our saying? For a reason, a
season or a lifetime. Yeah.
And that is what friendships can also be. And to know that someone was there for just a short time, but they were amazing, doesn't mean that it's any less of a friendship as it goes. And then
a wonderful
someone else
friendship, but it's not. It was for that moment.
Yeah.
And then it goes.
Yeah.
And then there's people that will always be there.
Yeah.
And what's the other one?
A reason. A season
reason,
or a lifetime.
To enable you to do something or,
Yeah. Well, we're going to try and talk about something every week, aren't we?
Yes.
Different subject, ourselves, our children,
yes.
And if anybody has any.
Yes, if you have anything you'd like us to talk about, put in the comment below.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Shall we stop there?
Yeah.